When she said those words, something inside me cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but like glass under pressure, splintering from within. Your mom's cancer is killing my vibe. She said it so casually, like it was a bad song on the radio, like my mother's pain was an inconvenience to her carefully curated happiness. I just stood there in the kitchen, hands still wet from washing the dishes, staring at her as if maybe I'd misheard. What did you just say? I asked, my voice trembling somewhere between disbelief and rage. Mara rolled her eyes, tugging at her perfectly curled hair. I'm just saying, Daniel, ever since your mom got sick, it's been nothing but hospital trips, sad calls, and stress. I can't even remember the last time we had fun together. It's draining. Draining. That word hit harder than any insult she could have thrown. My mother, who'd held me through every scrape, every failure, who'd taught me what it meant to love selflessly, was draining her. I took a step back. She has stage 4 cancer, Mara. She's dying. And I'm sorry, okay? She said, not sounding sorry at all. But I didn't sign up to be in a constant pity party. You've been obsessed with her. And I feel like I don't even exist anymore. Obsessed. The irony burned through my throat. The woman I thought was my life partner couldn't handle empathy unless it benefited her. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, staring at the woman I'd married 3 years ago. The same woman who'd once held my hand at my dad's funeral, promising me we'd get through anything together. But in that moment I saw her for who she really was. My mother passed away 2 weeks later. She went peacefully in her sleep with my hand in hers. I whispered that it was okay to rest. That I'd be fine. It was a lie, of course. I was anything but fine. Mara didn't come to the hospital that night. She said she had a work dinner she couldn't miss. When I called her to tell her mom was gone, she sighed and said, "Oh no, are you okay?" Like she was asking if I had a mild headache. I wanted to scream, but grief has a strange way of muting rage. So I said nothing. I just handled the arrangements alone, accepting condolences while my wife posted beach selfies captioned, "Healing Vibes Sparkles." At the funeral, she showed up late in a white dress, looking more like she was attending a garden party than a memorial. She dabbed at her eyes when people were watching and scrolled through her phone when they weren't. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat on the edge of our bed, staring at her silhouette as she scrolled TikTok beside me, laughing at something stupid. I wanted to ask her, how could she be so empty, so untouched by loss? Instead I just whispered, "Good night," and turned away. 3 weeks later I found the messages. It was 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep again, so I reached for her phone on the nightstand, intending to set an alarm because mine had died. The screen lit up with a notification from Jason's speech balloon. Jason, her coworker. Curious or maybe subconsciously suspicious, I opened the thread. And there it was. Flirty texts. Late-night confessions. Photos that made my stomach twist. The first message I saw wasn't even sexual, it was worse. Jason, I wish you didn't have to go home to him. Mara. Yeah, me too. He's been such a drag since his mom got sick. It's like living with a ghost. A ghost. That's what I was to her. A ghost. I scrolled further. Messages from weeks before my mother's death. Dates. Hotel confirmations. Lunch breaks that lasted hours. I dropped the phone. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the water glass next to it. Mara stirred beside me. Babe? What are you doing? My voice came out low and deadly calm. Who's Jason? For a moment she blinked in confusion. Then realization flashed in her eyes, followed by panic. Daniel, it's not what it looks like. Oh really? I said, laughing bitterly. Because it looks like you were screwing your coworker while I was watching my mother die. She sat up, clutching the blanket to her chest. It wasn't serious. It just happened. I was lonely, you were never home, you were always sad. Sad. I repeated. My mother was dying, Mara. Tears filled her eyes. Maybe guilt. Maybe just fear of losing her comfortable life. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please let's talk about this. Don't make decisions when you're emotional. Emotional? I snapped. You think I'm being emotional? You think this is about a mood swing? I got up, grabbed a suitcase from the closet, and started throwing her clothes into it. Daniel, please, she sobbed, standing now. I love you, okay? Jason means nothing. It was a stupid mistake. No, I said, zipping the suitcase. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. What you did was a choice. She followed me as I wheeled the suitcase to the front door. You can't just throw me out. I opened the door. Watch me. She stared at me, eyes wide, mascara streaking down her cheeks. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said. But at least I'll be able to look in the mirror and not see a liar. She left that night, slamming the door so hard it rattled the frames on the wall. The house was unbearably quiet after that. Grief from losing my mother mixed with betrayal from losing my wife. It was like drowning twice in the same ocean. Days bled into nights. I barely ate. I barely slept. I replayed every memory, wondering how long she'd been gone emotionally before she left physically. Then about a week later she called. Her name lit up my phone screen. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Daniel, she sobbed. Please, can we talk? I'm at the airport. I closed my eyes. Why are you at the airport? Because I was supposed to go on a trip with Jason, she said between shaky breaths. But he didn't show up. He blocked me. He used me. I leaned against the counter, staring out at the gray sky beyond the kitchen window. Mara, I said quietly, you used me. She broke down completely. I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. Please just let me come home. We can fix this. I'll do anything. For a long moment I said nothing. Just listened to her crying, desperate, broken. And maybe once that would have mattered to me. Maybe once I would have gone to the airport, hugged her, and said we'd start over. But something inside me had gone cold. You said my mom's cancer was killing your vibe, I said softly. But you know what? Losing you has been the most peaceful thing that's happened to me in months. There was silence on the line. Then a whisper. Daniel, please. Goodbye, Mara. I hung up. In the months that followed, I learned to live with the silence. It wasn't easy, grief is messy, betrayal is uglier, but it was honest. I started therapy. I reconnected with old friends I drifted from during my marriage. I even visited my mother's favorite park once a week, sitting on the same bench where we used to feed the ducks. One day I found a letter tucked beneath a flower bouquet on that bench. It was from Mara. She wrote that she'd quit her job, that she was in therapy too, that she'd realized how selfish she'd been. She said she missed me, that she'd give anything to undo what she'd done. I folded the letter, placed it under the flowers and left it there. Because forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it just means letting go of the pain that once defined you. As I walked away, the evening sun broke through the clouds, scattering gold across the pond. For the first time in a long time I felt something like peace. And I whispered, to no one in particular, you were right, Mom. People show you who they are. You just have to believe them.